Good morning, and today I would like to speak to you about education. And not education in a big picture, but something a little bit more specific. And that is the lecture style of teaching that we have in most universities. Now, I'm sure you've all been in this sort of classroom where up in front is the professor or the teacher giving their monologue about whatever he or she might be teaching. And then there's a group of students listening to this professor or teacher, and there's not a ton of interaction. And this is called a lecture. This style of education has been very popular since the beginning of educational institutions, and what's interesting is nowadays there are many educational institutions around the globe who are starting to move away from this traditional idea of education, these classic styles of lectures, and are starting to explore new ways to learn and to help insight learning with students. Now, there are a seemingly infinite amount of ways that you can do this because there's so many different varieties of learning styles. So as an educator, you'll have to be both creative and flexible. However, a study conducted at the University of Norway in the Science and Technology Department discovered during a research study that they conducted in 2006 that the average attention span of a normal human being is 20 minutes. So that kind of makes you wonder then why a normal lecture is between 50 minutes and 2 hours. Further research was conducted by another individual, Chema Lazaro, at the Madrid University Rey Juan Carlos, and in his neurodidactic studies, he discovered some very interesting findings. He proposed that teaching methodology could be changed or improved even if there are visual supports or if there's a kinesthetic component. Now this may seem pretty obvious, yet nobody seems to be implementing this in a very effective way. He came to these conclusions and therefore decided in his classroom to use these new ideas, saying that the reasoning behind this was simple, that the brain is a social organ. You need to learn through interaction with others. If you take babies, for example, babies learn by seeing and doing. This same idea holds true throughout our entire lifetime. It doesn't just stop once we've begun our learning as children. Then, in his own classrooms, after implementing his findings, he discovered that test scores and learning overall rose dramatically. Now, some might argue, well, I work best in this lecture-style classroom, that's how I learn. Some others might say, you know, if we've had this style for so long and it has kept us going until now, why change things? Why fix what's not broken? And I don't mean to imply that education is incredibly flawed or that there are a ton of problems that need to be rectified. However, I think it is a worthy idea to be able to tailor programs and educational systems, moreover, and therefore capitalize on all of our different learning styles to fully educate students across the board. I am a kinesthetic and visual learner. Therefore, I need pictures, I need a lot of visuals, I need real-life examples, I need to be able to get up, get my hands on things, and I need that opportunity to figure out things on my own. So, keeping that in mind, I'll end with an anecdote, a personal anecdote, that epitomizes this idea. So, at my university, during my undergrad, I went to a very large university. We had somewhere between 80,000 and 90,000 students. Now, that having been said, there are some really there are really strong advantages to this. However, there are some cons. For example, one year I took a nutrition class, but because this nutrition class was a prerequisite for a wide variety of different majors, as well as a class you could also just take for fun, in my class there were 750 students. So at my university you could have 600, 700, up to 800 students in one classroom. In this lecture-style education system, there was one professor, very, very far away from where I was seated, and 750 students, almost 800 students, listening to the professor. Do you think I was able to get all of my visual and kinesthetic learning through that? Not always. So, with any luck, we'll be able to come to a reasonable compromise in the future. Thank you.